They came to fight someone else's war, certain of victory, proud of their howitzers. At Guadalajara in 1937, Italian troops opened fire into the Spanish cold, and Republican forces pushed them straight back. Mussolini's dream of glory died in the mud. The fishing nets still hang where grandfathers hung them, the cobblestones worn smooth by boots that never left. In 1900, Whitby breathed salt air and quiet routine, a North Sea town untouched by the century about to devour everything it knew. She looks like any child, unaware of palaces, revolutions, or the basement in Yekaterinburg waiting decades ahead. This is Alex von Hesse in 1875, 6 years old, innocent of the crown that would one day make her the most tragic Tsarina Russia ever buried. They are still alive in this frame, a mother shielding, a daughter clutching, eyes holding something beyond fear. Seconds later, American soldiers would end them all. My Lai, 1968. No battle. No enemy. Just 504 villagers, and men who were never supposed to forget their humanity. They did not call themselves pawns, they called themselves believers. In 1987, Hezbollah Islami Ali's fighters held American weapons and ancient convictions in the same hands. The Soviets would leave. Then these same mountains would swallow the next empire too. Behind polished uniforms and quiet smiles lived architects of suffering. Doihara ran China's shadows, opium, espionage, puppet states, while Toda commanded the machinery beside him. By 1948, a Tokyo courtroom would finally give their elegant cruelty the only name it deserved: guilty. He is barely old enough to shave, yet the sky is already his classroom. At Silver Lake in 1944, Civil Air Patrol cadets trained while the real war consumed their older brothers overseas. Some of these boys would inherit that war. Some never came home from it. She dressed for one perfect day, stood motionless for the camera, and never imagined strangers would study her face 170 years later. A bride, 1855, her name lost, her husband forgotten, but something in her eyes still holding the whole weight of hope. It looked stranger than it was, children standing silent under violet light, goggled and obedient. In the 1980s, Soviet doctors prescribed ultraviolet therapy for vitamin D deficiency in sun-starved winters. The state decided everything, even how its children absorbed the light. The Romans built here first, then the Normans, then centuries of merchants and kings who all believed this ground was worth holding. By the 1890s, Newcastle's Castle Garth stood half forgotten amid factory smoke, ancient stone outliving every empire that once thought it mattered. Every face carries a continent: Poland, Italy, Russia, Ireland, all pressed into one September morning. On September 13, 1915, New York streets flooded with children whose parents had crossed oceans for exactly this: a door-marked school, and everything it promised beyond it. She almost smiled, and in 1850, almost was everything. Daguerreotypes demanded stillness, solemnity, stone faces. She ignored that. Whoever she was, whatever she was thinking in that moment, she decided one small rebellion was absolutely worth it. She survived the night they burned Greenwood to ash, the planes, the guns, the neighbors turned hunters. Krupnik photographed her in 1921, but America buried this massacre for decades. She carried what an entire country spent 50 years pretending never happened. Beneath the colonial stillness born captured, a city of millions breathed, bargained, and endured. Calcutta in the 1860s, grand to British eyes, contested ground to everyone else. The camera recorded empire's confidence. It forgot to mention whose streets these actually were. Hazel Grant stood still for the camera in Junction City, Kansas, and the glass kept her forever. A name. A town. A moment. Most children from 1900 dissolved into silence, but Hazel, somehow, still has a face. She refused every box they built for her: actress, poet, Jewish convert, scandal, legend. In the 1860s, Oda Isaac's Men Ken packed theaters and shocked continents. The camera caught her stillness. It could never quite capture the woman who made Victorian society deeply, deliciously uncomfortable. He made it out of Loc Nin, the last American standing as the city fell around him. Lai Key, 1975. No victory. No parade waiting. Just a soldier, a war finally ending, and a country he'd spent years fighting for disappearing behind him. It stood in ruins for centuries, the exact ground where a man sat beneath a tree and changed the world's understanding of suffering. Between 1879 and 1899, restorers rebuilt Mahabodhi stone by stone. Some places are too sacred to stay broken. Bleeding on the sand that cost 1,000 American lives in 76 hours, he still holds the sword. Tarawa, November 1943, one of the Pacific's bloodiest yards. Nobody remembers why he had it. Everyone remembers that he wouldn't let go. Their families had already buried them, eulogies spoken, tears dried, graves prepared in hearts. 6 Tongan teenagers, shipwrecked 1965, chose discipline over despair, chores, fire, song, prayer, every single day. A passing boat found not survivors, but 15 months of refusing to disappear. 6 stories above the crowded streets, this was their countryside, sky, breeze, and 3 feet of tar roof. In June 1909, tenement children claimed whatever space the city didn't take. Up here, for one summer moment, poverty had a view. The war had been over 5 years, but London still wore its wounds, rationing, rubble, and a city relearning how to simply live. In 1950, these streets held a generation that had survived everything, now practicing the quiet, radical act of ordinary life. She was called Too Beautiful to Live Quietly, and Hollywood made certain of it. Barbara La Mar wore this costume for The White Moth in 1924, luminous and unaware. 2 years later, she was gone at 29, burned through by the life that made her legendary. The statue stood long before the cameras arrived, before colonizers drew borders through their ancestors' land. In 1947, Songye villagers of Congo posed beside centuries of identity the Belgian Congo spent decades trying to erase. Some things survive every empire sent to replace them. 2 sisters in white, roses in hand, futures still unwritten. Constance Gorbooth stood here in the 1880s, composed and elegant, decades before she'd command barricades, face a death sentence, and become the first woman ever elected to British Parliament. He surrendered a crown for love, then spent years proving perhaps he never deserved it. Edward VIII chose Wallace Simpson in 1936, toured Hitler's Germany in 1937, and by 1940, intelligence files whispered of a man already negotiating with the enemy for his throne back. It was built to keep invaders out, and spent 6 centuries watching them come anyway. The stone gate of Paslek stood through Teutonic knights, Prussian kings, and by 1942, a war that would redraw every border around it and rename the world it guarded. Nobody on the lifeboat knew their names. 2 small boys, silent, saved from a sinking ship by a father who didn't survive it. The world called them the Titanic orphans. Then a mother in France opened a newspaper and recognized everything she thought the ocean had taken. She danced into rooms that weren't built for her and rewrote the rules anyway. Aida Overton Walker commanded stages in the 1890s, black, brilliant, undeniable. They called her the Queen of Cakewalk. History nearly forgot her. The photographs refused to let that happen. It was too fast for its own airframe. Early models shook themselves apart mid-flight. By 1944, engineers had tamed the Typhoon enough to unleash it on Normandy's roads, turning German tank columns into burning metal. Brutal aircraft. Exactly the war it was built for.